Hi, welcome to X Reality Podcast. I'm the host, Dominic Wu, and beside me is my guest, Eileen Wu. Hi, Eileen. Would you share a little bit about your background with us?
Yeah, of course. Hi, everyone. I am Eileen, and I am currently a product manager at Google. And my focus is like exploring novel AI use cases powered by like unique glasses form factors. So I can talk a little bit about like my product manager path at Google and why working in XR. So like dating back to like 8, 9 years ago, my first internship when I was in college is actually working on like AR applications at Google. So that drew me into thinking more about and learning more about AR and VR stuff. And then after that, I have done like several research experiences in college that are relevant to XR, like construction too in the XR environment and also some BCI work. But then when I joined Google as a product manager, I actually didn't jump into working on XR products right away because at that time I felt like there might still be years for the hardware advancement for XR, and then we need like new interaction paradigms and also a more scalable way for a developer to develop applications for XR products to really create some like potential billion user consumer product. So after I joined Google, I worked on YouTube for a year and then worked on search for several years, focusing on like the subscription services and also like how to create like Gen AI answers for search, for example. So I really learned a lot for like how big companies are running their products and that have like billions of users. And then an opportunity came around like the AI era in the XR team at Google. And I felt like, okay, now with AI, with the advancement in hardware, maybe now is a good time to join. So that's where I am right now, working on like glasses, XR products at Google.
Wow, that's amazing. So, what do you see, for example, like you mentioned that Gen AI in the wearable, like in higher level? What do you see that, for example, AI assistant? Recently, we saw like the hottest topic is MOBA, CLOBA, open cloud, whatever you like to call. What do you see these types of personal AI assistant living inside your glasses or your headset?
Yeah, I kind of see them as like embodied AI. And I think the magic on glasses and also like Demis, the CEO of Google DeepMind, usually recently also had an interview that talk about like glasses can be the eventual like final form factor for the embodied AI concept. So basically, because you have the AI on your glasses, it can see what you see and hear what you hear. Basically, it has the most important like sensors to know about like the visual part and also the audio part. So it can actually have you as your extended memory to help you to make like better decisions, make better judgments, and then just like serve as the embodied partner with you. So that's why I felt like maybe before when we don't have like an AI system or like smart AI helper, you will need to describe a lot to AI on the screen or on mobile for what you are doing, what you are seeing in order to let it help you. But now a lot of them can be inferred by AI by seeing and hear exactly what you are seeing and hearing. So I think this is like where the most exciting part for me to work on the product in this era.
Yeah, just like you mentioned that you need to describe a lot because AI doesn't know. This morning, I was trying to change my website and I use Squarespace. So I use Cloud Code. And then I was the first thing that I did yesterday, I was using the desktop coworker, co-work. So I was trying to describe a web page and I find out that the bot was struggling trying to do things. And later on today, this morning, I do another strategy, which is I download the extension on the Chrome, and I do a recording because you need to teach the bot how to do it. So I record about me, and the bot was taking notes. I take a lot of screenshot about me, how to swap this asset, do all the stuff step by step. First time it failed. And second time it's kind of successful, but it's very, very slow. So what you said is so amazing because, for example, I can just wear the glass and I just record what I did instead of, I need to do an extra things to train the extension and then to tell it what to do. And it did very slow. I was like, wow, we know that a lot of bots or it's really good in generate a lot of HTML or web browser, all those like app, iOS app, Android app because it's so mature. But when going to, for example, like the widget, no code widget, find out that the bot has very difficulties to open, click, especially find a button. Yeah, yeah, so that's why I think I was very like interested in like wow, in the future, if the bot living in my glass and I can see the screen, I just do it one time. I don't have to purposely train it again. I can just hit the record and then send the data and every bot knows me. Yeah, I think that's great. Yeah.
Yeah, and also I think a lot of company right now are also looking into the AI agent that lives in various surfaces. So in the use case that you just talked about, it might not have to be the AI agent on your glasses. It can also be the AI agent on your laptop. But then they share the same memory, they share the same like personal intelligence for you, and then to help you with tasks like that. Because like I know that for glasses, like the battery camera usage has been a topic that we have talked a lot that okay, if you always keep the camera on, it's always consuming the battery, and then our current hardware might not support like all the use for all the tasks that you want to complete in your life. Then how can we think about the smart system, like the glasses with the environment and all the thing, to create a better environment? Just in consideration of the potential like battery limitation that we have today. So I think the Internet of Things right now is basically you can have a smart agent that lives in all your like electronics. They can understand each other, they share contacts, and then they help you complete your task.
Yeah, yeah. And I really think that, for example, battery issue, right? Recently, I had I create some VR experience and AR experience for some faculty to try. And what they complain about is that, wow, it's just 2 hours. I just I just use it and after 2 hours it dies. And I said, "Yeah, this is I know VR or AR has been around for, 20 years or 15 years at least, but
Yeah.
still is the not technology that imagine you are wearing the entire computer in your head. So it requires a lot of power and it needs to be cooled down. There are a lot of form issues and chips issues and
Yeah.
it needs to be not too hot, right? So there are a lot of contradict issues. So that's why the battery drains so much. I remember recently I read MIT technology review. There is a new, probably not new, but it's sodium battery. It means that because before we use like a lithium, and lithium is so easy to, like very toxic, but, for the sodium, maybe I don't know, I'm just, like, trying to figure it out how to solve the energy or battery issue, or maybe, when you wear and, there's a Internet of Things start charging. Ah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I think battery is definitely one of the limitation of the hardware today, and that I know that a lot of company today, because is the battery thing is not something that we can solve in the short term, right? We need to have like better materials. We need to figure out all like the new energy thing to be able to solve the battery issue. So a lot of the companies that I know currently developing like AR, XR product, they are all trying to see, okay, if we cannot solve the battery issue completely, how can we design around it? So, for example, your glasses don't always need to talk to a cloud, don't need to always run the AI model. Some simple command can be done on the device. In that case, we can like save some battery, or we can have like a better way of like charging the glasses. And also, if you want some like context aware glasses that you can wear every day, we also need to like dynamically or smartly decide, okay, when to use the camera, when to not use it. So to reduce the potential battery consumption when, for example, like camera is not necessary. So I think that's I know that that's has a way for the companies today to think about, okay, if I really need to have some like everyday wearables, and battery is a big constraint, how can we design around it by thinking about smart way of reducing battery consumption there?
Yeah, yeah, I think, for example, like, I remember I saw there were some shoes that when you walk, it generates the battery, and maybe or like when you go out, there's like a solar panel. I don't know how, but maybe generate. Or, sometimes you will do a lot of movement. Maybe those movement can be heat, or you walk the dog and the dog will generate the battery. That's just like some.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, when I was in college, I took a class called smart wearables or something. And then one of my professor in that class, she had a startup, but that startup failed today. But at that time, she was designing like a solar panel bag that you can like just there's a solar panel like outside of the bag that you can use it as like a charger. But the challenge of that is that the weight. Like when you bag, you don't want it to be so heavy because you're already going to put like so many things inside. But then the solar panel is adding so much weight to the bag, and also it doesn't look good in general. So that company wasn't that successful. But I actually felt like the same learning can apply to glasses too. If you want like everyday wear glasses, like the style and then the weight, they are the most important factors for people to put them on glasses and to wear them every day. So instead of not only thinking about okay what AI novelty use cases that you can drive here, but the most important part is that you need to get people to put on the glasses to wear them all day on their faces too. So the style, the fashion, and then the way I think are the most important stuff here. And then we need to think about, of course, like the battery, energy, like all the things that can empower us to have great AI experiences.
Yeah. And do you think that, for example, like a long time ago, I interviewed one of the um, Snapchat kind of lens, very good developer who create lens. He argued that who will wear glasses every day? Because, for example, like when you wear glasses, I mean, when I was very young, like first grade, I already had I have to wear glasses every day because like in Asia, you need to study very hard. When I was in elementary school, I have already like a 900, like very very bad, like a very weak eyesight. So after I entered to college, I decided to do LASIK to get rid of the, heavy glasses. I remember every time when I eat, right? And the heat will always cover like a ramen, or always cover the glasses. And yeah, so what do you think, for example, like do people really like to wear glasses? Right now, I only wear glasses when I walk my dog. I wear Ray-Ban Generation 2. I listen to podcasts or I listen to audiobook. This I walk my dog and I just, like it's like a 1 hour walk every day. Morning, noontime, and nighttime. So 3 hours just to walk my dog. And I find out this is very convenient. But after that 1 hour, I put in charging, right? Because it requires a lot of battery. So what do you see the everyday use, for example, is there truly necessary to wear that glass 24 hours, or you take out only when you sleep?
Yeah, I think we might need to look at like different user segments here. So, for example, for people who are already wearing glasses today, they already need their like prescription. So it's basically the same glasses, but now it's actually more advanced. I think that's how like some of the company has been selling their glasses so far with this message that you already need the glasses. We are just adding a little bit more thing, maybe a little bit weight, but then you can actually have something that you can easily capture photos, and then you can like have an AI that you can talk to. So I think for people who are already wearing glasses, this is not adding too much as long as we are like making them how like comfortable enough for people to wear every day. And I think the second user segment there is that I know that a lot of people really like outdoor activities today. So they're already wearing sunglasses. So there are a lot of use cases where you are wearing sunglasses, you're probably traveling or doing some sports that you might want to like, for example, capture the moment, or your hands might be busy with like doing something and then you want an easy way for commands like voice command or like maybe some other interaction patterns too. So in that case, glasses is still going to be super helpful, even though you only use it for some of the use cases, like the use cases that you need sunglasses. And then the third thing here is basically, okay, for the user segment that which for the tasks that are not outdoor that need the sunglasses, and also if they don't wear glasses like daily because they have like really healthy eyes, how can we get them onto glasses? So I think now it talks about the value of glasses. What value can glasses create there? So one thing that I think is super, super powerful, but I know that we are still not there. And then there's also a lot of privacy concern we need to think about is basically ambient memory. Like I think for me, it's so easy for me to forget things. I have many reminder and then I have like post that to remind me, okay, you need to get those stuff done. And then when you go out of the door, you need to take your key. Yeah, I cannot count how many times I forgot my key. So all of those things, if we can hand over them to like a smart wearables that can basically experience this life just as me every day, but that help me with those little tasks, which is actually consuming my like brain power, but it's actually not that important. I don't want to spend a lot of energy or focus on those, attention on those. How can it help us like that? So if we really can solve like the ambient memory, that glasses can be your like AI companion, embodied AI that can be your like part of the memory that help you with like daily small tasks, but the tasks that you need to do like every day. I think that can create enough value to say that okay, people can put on the glasses and that let you do more thing. And also now I think because of the hardware constraint, like the display that we have on glasses, they are limited in sizes, limited in the information that it can show. But eventually, we might be able to have the really like VR type of everyday visual AR glasses that you can see a lot of the visual information like just on top of the physical world. That will be super extremely helpful. That remove you from just looking at a 2D screen, but really like immerse in the world. But this is definitely a trajectory that we need to like start with like different milestones. But I do see a world where in the future that okay, glasses can be a really great companion for most of the people. And maybe it is not glasses, it's contact lenses can be another
Oh,
point too.
wow.
Yeah. So yeah, but definitely we are still far away from that. But I can see the potential where a lot of companies are marching towards there right now.
Yeah, speaking of context, AR glass or smart AR enhanced contact glasses, Mujo, right? Mujo was the one that was super hot topic in the past. However, I remember last time when I saw the news, they kind of have some struggling. Do you have any like a research or any news about the context types of like a AR, AI enhancement?
Yeah, I also only saw them in some research paper. I think we are still really, really far away because of a lot of the health issues that we need to think about. And also one thing that reminds me something relevant is that so for example, I think education is also something that like I know that students are using AI a lot in their day-to-day life today to cope with their learning. And then of that idea, I know several companies are looking into it. Is also potentially AI glasses can be your like personalized tutor that can like tutor you about homework, tutor you about the things that you are learning and all the things. But then one relevant thing here is also the health. The eye, for example, the health for your eyes. If we are always going to put a display that's so close to your eyes, what does that mean to students who are in the developing like stages of their bodies and other things? So I think the same thing for like contact lenses and also same thing for using glasses for like teenagers or growing in the growing stage of like people. Like, yeah, what does that mean to like the body development overall? Is a big open question mark there.
Yeah. And also, for example, like, do you have any like a research to share? I don't know. For because right now I'm working on some XR curriculum, turning into the immersive experience, and I share the final build through Meta Quest 3 or through some phone experience. I find out that for more senior faculty, they find like it's like it seems like they couldn't really get into those virtual world compare with the younger generation because I share with one faculty. She told me that, oh, my son will be in this world forever because I saw he was, building a lot of Roblox world and get into VR and play Roblox for hours. But for her, she said that, oh, like this is like a very intense, and if something is keep moving, she feel dizzy.
Yeah.
It's very, very interesting. It's like a maybe the generation, because I remember we are from more like a book. we still have book, we still read book in the past, and now all the kids are reading iPad and all their world. And but before when after class we go out and running around, but for the kids nowadays they open their social media or they go on Roblox, Fortnite, and they play in the virtual world. So maybe the generation it might have like a for example like the for the AR glass or VR glass, they might um, engage more compared to more like a when we grow up with more books or more physical information. Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I plus one to that. I think definitely agreeing that I think as the new generation, they are they need to adapt to those new technology that are coming in. So same as our body, if I get more exposure to mobile, to like laptop, and then the next generation might be like XR, VR, AR, like headsets. My body, like human body, also need to adapt to those two technology. I think for me, I also felt like I am a little bit. I will be having a little bit headache if I am in VR environment for a longer time. But because I worked on the XR products today, I have to spend time there. Rod is actually getting used to it. I can stay in like the VR environment longer and longer. So definitely there's like a adaptation that's happening here for human to adapt to like the new technology there. But I still think that more research will be needed to see what's the potential impact for human health, especially for like eye health and also like just brain health in general. The reason why I mentioned that is that there's a really famous paper that was like super popular, I think several months ago, on like ChatGPT's impact on brain.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Study with like three groups of students. One group of students is basically using ChatGPT with their homework. The other one is not using ChatGPT and no AI, and then to finish their homework. The third group is trying to first think about the homework problem and then use ChatGPT for help. And then eventually, when they look at the writing results, like the third group is actually the one that doing the best because they had their own thinking at the beginnings, and then they use AI for help to fill in the gaps for what they don't know, and then they have like better learning outcome. So I think there's a way that now AI is like everywhere. People use them in their work, in their academia, in like we need to learn about how to like live with AI and then make the full advantage of it, but not let it degrading your autonomy and then degrading your ability to learn. But how can it like advance your learning? I think a lot of those need more research for us to know, okay, what's the impact on our body health? What's the impact on our brain, for example?
yeah. I agree with you because right now there's another theory. If you learn that more like a curriculum design that sector, there's a very famous theory called Bloom taxonomy. So start from memorization. There's a pyramid memorization, and then you start building up, and at the end is creative, right? Create. So if you see this, the normal way that teacher is teaching nowadays is still on the button at the bottom, right? It's like,
Yeah.
oh, teach you, for example, quiz. Quiz is pretty much testing all the memorization. I remember when I was in Taiwan, because I came here when I was 23, very long time ago. Yeah, and then I find out that wow, what I learned is pretty much memorization is the bottom line, right? Remember all the multiple choice and true or false, all those stuff. So right now, a lot of people or a scholar they said that we need to do reverse taxonomy, Bloom taxonomy, which starts with create, because create it uh, relates it to multiple mega cognitive learning. Use all the parts of your brain, right? Which AI so far, AI can do very, average thinking, but the personal unique experience and how you express yourself, AI still, because lack of human body, maybe robot can do that, maybe. But so far, your unique personal experience, your creativity will make your product become really amazing. So there's a interesting like a AI proof assessment that slowly being introduced in the higher education area. For example, instead of test, right, memorization, they start using, for example, oral presentation. Because presentation, it means that you need to know things and you need like your doctor degree paper, right? You need to defend, listen, and then have a conversation, right? So and also project based, for example, and record your process and show your draft. So this will be more like a towards more like, oh, you learn not through the final result, how many correct answer you have, but through the entire process, we can see you grow. So I think the education, as an educator, we need to switch our mind setting instead of, for example, coding, right? Before teacher are teaching syntax. But right now there are so many languages and Claude Code or, Gemini can do so much. And if you are competing with that, right, you are pretty much, you couldn't, nobody will hire you to do that anymore. But I think now it's more like you will be more like a project manager. You start listing out what's the structure, architecture of the task and that AI do, and you become the person who responsible and you will audit. And because everything under your name need to be high quality, so you need to make sure all the AI, there's no hallucination. So I think this types of change will be a very interesting change. What do you think?
Yeah, I think plus 100 to that. I actually met one of the professor that I worked with when I was in college, I think last summer, and then he told me that like he basically changed all his quizzes into open-ended question, so that he can really see how his students is thinking, and then also not let them to cheat on those like multi quiz anymore. So it's less on memorization as you mentioned, but more on okay, showing me like how you think, and then your like creativity in it. So definitely a plus one to that. And also, I'm actually taking some classes at Stanford right now, just like aside from my job, just to learn more about in the AI era. And one thing that Stanford is added is they call it tutorial. So it is not like the TA driven helping you with your homework. The tutorial, what the format look like is basically like the professor will explain a lot of concepts in the class, and in the tutorial it is like 4 or 5 students in a group, and then you will need to explain the concepts again. But then you can only like successfully explain the concept if you fully understand it. So it's like oral test or oral practice for you to make sure that okay, if you learn something, you fully understand it. You should be able to express it really well. In this way, it really helps the students to learn more. There, it's not just like doing coding assignment or doing like math proof and everything. It's like you explaining the concept. Like, do you really understand it? So I really see the potential there for how with like the new technology, how can we also involve, as you mentioned, from the paradigm, like how can we like emphasize like some other things where we don't emphasize a lot in the past. And one thing that I am personally super excited about AI glasses is also the ability for how it can inspire curiosity. So I think for me, I am that kind of person. If see something like really interesting in my day-to-day life. For example, it might be a plant, it might be a advertisement sign, it might be something that I just don't know much about, that I will take out my phone and do some Google search or ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever tool is available there, trying to find the answer there. But even with like voice interface and all the thing, I still need to describe what I'm looking at, or at least I need to take a photo. And sometimes when I take a photo, it's too late. That moment already like flipped away. And then I have to describe what the moment looked like to be able to get my answer. So one thing that I am super exciting about like AI glasses for the education is basically it encourage curiosity. You can ask questions so easily that whatever you see and then whatever that moment is, you can just ask it right away. And then the AI will be able to grasp all the context that you have. You don't need to describe it to it, and then it can give you the answer. I think in that way, people can learn in a different dimension, right? When you are going outside of the school, when you are in like the natural environment, or when you are like traveling, when you are doing something else, you can always just quickly ask the question. And one thing that's good about AI is also that it won't judge you.
Yeah.
Like, oh, if I have some like stupid questions, I we won't want to ask my engineers because I don't. No worries, Eileen is like not good at the specific part. But for AI, I can ask so stupid question. I can ask it to use like analogy to help me understand the concept and all those
Yeah.
things. So it is really the tutor or like that my learning partner that I can trust. I can ask all my silly questions and then but in that way only I ask silly question I can like learn faster. So that's why I felt like with the AI, the learning is a like completely whole thing there.
Yeah, yeah, and just echo with you for you mentioned that in Stanford, right, professor asks 4 to 5 students to start explain what they learned. It's also echo with me. The reason why I start extra reality YouTube channel. When I started, it was 2016. I started learn. It's like I want to learn. I joined one hackathon and later on, I really love using Unity to create games, but during that time I was UX UI designer. So I don't know anything. But I think I remember the best way to learn is to teach, right? Is echoing with Richard Feynman. He said that if you can explain something very complicated into a 5-year-old kids can understand, then you fully understand. So that's why I had a full-time job, but Saturday I purchased Unity, like how to use Unity back in 2016. And then the morning 4 hours I study, and then I eat lunch, and then I turn on the camera and I start recording what's that unit about. So it was very exciting because I always feel like I'm so stupid. But later on, because of that types of force of learning, yeah, I also remember that Gary Vee said that you just open your camera, be authentic, and start recording whatever you learn. You should be fine. At the beginning, I feel like wow, I couldn't explain anything, but the more that I practice, the better that I can articulate. And also, I think in this era, in AI era, we need to learn how to articulate what we want, right? It's so important because, for example, today, this morning, I was trying to ask ChatGPT to, not ChatGPT, Claude, Google extension to do my website revision. I find out that first couple of times I couldn't explain and that suffer. So at the end, I was able to articulate very clearly, very short, so the AI bot can follow. So I
Yeah.
think it just like you said that the oral presentation clearly expressed and also ask a clear question. I think it's sparkle the curiosity, not treating ourselves as, oh, I know it and I don't have to learn. I stop learning. So I think it just like you said that the wearable AI glasses really helps the education.
Yeah, and also building on top of that, this is also some skills that I learned recently because I use AI a lot. Give my day job is that instead of like you trying to make sure that you articulate everything like really well to AI every time, you can just ask it, okay, I want to solve this. What question would you ask back to me? Oh, like the AI will list out a bunch of questions, and sometimes I felt, oh, I actually didn't think about from this angle. This is a great question that definitely
Mhm.
won't give me a good answer because I didn't provide enough context to AI. So I'm actually using that format a lot. That when I'm trying to solve some hard problem, I will tell it what I know, but I will ask back, okay, based on the context, what else would you ask me to be able to give me a good response? And I actually got a lot of like inspiring ideas based on the question that AI is asking me.
Wow. Yeah. So I think the interesting thing about this era is less of the concrete uh, answer. Because, for example, like I saw recently, there are a lot of papers saying that wow, AI bridged the gap for a lot of different very specific industry, right? So yeah, so I just think that yeah, by open to the possibilities, not holding on because I remember today this morning I saw like a young raccoon has another like a medical like a model. I forgot which was that, but they were having a lot of like images recognition, and there are a lot of noise dots, right? And the old model was they couldn't tell like the noise dots versus the actual data. But now they've reduced the model size and they start recognize that. And then the performance was getting better and better. So this types of technology is pretty much assisting doctors or researchers to figure out, just looking at all the images from the patient, they can spotlight. And with the AI assistant, sometimes, humans' eyes, we might miss some patterns, but AI can catch everything. So I think the learning process is like that. So we keep open our mind and we keep learning, we keep accepting new knowledge. Yeah, and a lot of old theories start because of AI pattern recognition. Scientists start finding out, go back to the old theories, for example, the beginning of the universe. A lot of big theories start, I would say a lot of people start questioning about, are those correct, right? Like authoritative, those types of theories start having some people start questioning using AI to call brainstorming. So yeah, so just like previously you mentioned that in some researches, the professors or researchers are worried about ChatGPT might make people think less. But if we use this as another way, spark our curiosity, we actually learn more. For example, Jensen Huang, someone asked Jensen Huang this question, like, oh, like people said that AI will damage our brain, make our we think less. What do you think? And Jensen Huang just mentioned that, oh, I didn't really read that paper. I will read it later. But according to your question, he thinks that he actually learned more, think more just because of AI. He said that he will exhaust every AI, right? And come up with different solutions and he will pick and he will sparkle, right? So I think, yeah, there are two different ways or a couple different ways, but if we can focus on sparkle our curiosity, not limited to one or two correct answer, I think we should be able to upgrade our learning. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So, what do you see, for example, like your potential, like a product vision for the future? For example, we see Mobot, right? Mobot, even like all the AI agent, go there and create a religion. This is crazy. And also, you see the wearable, right? We previously we mentioned like a battery and also a lot of different hardware limitation. And what do you see? And right now, I think Elon Musk want to build a data center in in all the like satellite or like outer space. So I think there are a lot of crazy ideas. But what do you see the future AI wearable or energy infrastructure or like artificial sun? What do you see?
Yeah, I think that's a really great question, and I have also been thinking about it in my like product manager path just to see okay where the industry is heading to. Yeah, I think for AI, I really think that we need to like learn to how to live with AI. As you mentioned that we shouldn't be afraid of AI. We should use it as a means to help us to like in to help us to have like better curiosity to help us better learn about our world and also like we need to think about what type of AI we need there. So I know that on like X and also on some like Reddit, people are also pasting some like interesting responses that the AI might have because it is not like performing that well or it is creating some weird responses. So I think I know that there is some like AI safety and then also emergent misalignment research that's currently doing and trying to figure out okay when AI starts to have some like weird responses or have or trying to like say that it has its own identity to do something. So I think there's definitely a lot that we need to do on the AI side to make sure that it is safe for people to use. And also how can we use them like accurately as a means to achieve what we really want to achieve and how to like better live with AI. But then the AI it really has the potential here to reduce a lot of like the effort that we need to do every day by making people by letting human to focus on the tasks that are more important. So I definitely see the value there. And then in terms of like wearables, I think there's something to say that, okay, like smart glasses might replace phones at some point. But I actually think that like each device specializes on its own thing. Like your phone isn't replaced. It's like liberated from like the tyrannic of being your only interface. You can have glasses, you can have watch, you can have like pods. And then with those added wearable, you're just like stop pulling your phone like 100 times a day, because now your glasses can potentially show you notification, your glasses can answer your question, your watch can log your heart rate, your earbuds can read you the message or help you to hear better. So say today if you are like blind, your phone is inaccessible by definition because it's a visual interface. But like a constellation of like spatial audio, haptics, and AI could actually create an entirely new paradigm for you. Like the future of wearable isn't about like replacing phone, it's about like democratizing access to computing beyond screens. So providing people with different like ways for them to live better. So for example, a lot of like the visually impaired people are super excited about like Meta Ray-Ban, about AI glasses, because it definitely changed their life by letting them have like more access to the world compared to phone, for example. So that's why I felt like if I need to think about more in the long term, I don't think phone will be replaced soon. For example, now we still need them to be the computing, to be the power bank and everything for us to use the glasses. But as like the hardware in advance, we can still find a really good like harmony between all those smart wearables. As long as we make sure that they are specialized in their like the things that they are really good at, there might be a really good story to tell there. Um, yeah, and then I think in terms of the things that I am excited about, I'm always also inspired by a lot of like vision that Elon Musk has about uh, moving people to the universe and all the thing. But then I think for myself, I think uh, my motivation of working in the industry and also working on the smart wearable is that I really want to make sure that we can let more people to have like access to the technology. This is actually based on my personal story. So my grandpa, like he cannot talk and cannot listen. So I know like sign language, and that's how I communicate with him.
Mm.
So I remember the first time when I tried out, like you probably see in Google I/O that like some translation and transcription has been shown on the glass and also for other product. I am like so happy at that time because I felt like if my grandpa can have that like several years ago, he can understand the world much, much better. Like he can have like so
Mhm.
much fun by understanding what people around him is talking about. Because I remember when I was small, I always need to do like be the translator to do sign language to help him understand a lot of things. So that's why I felt like with new AI wearables, if we look at like the huge population, yeah, it can definitely create some like novel fancy use cases for people to use. But if you also think about like a smaller group of people who don't have access or who cannot like use our existing technology really well today, what are the new technology means to them? And that's why I like really believe in the power of okay developing better smart wearables such as glasses, pods, and also like watch to help with those kind of people. Because when you are helping people, for example, with disability, you're actually also helping people who are like common people. They might be help you create for a specific group. It can actually benefit for all.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, for example, like if you it's like from Microsoft, like a XR accessibility, right? So for example, if you are designed for people who lose arms, you also design for people who like a pregnant woman, like a temporary lose the sense of the arms. So it's like a permanent disabilities versus the temporary disabilities people. So you cast the wide range of accessibilities. Yeah, if you go like more like extreme experience, right? So yeah, so what do you think of like for example wearable and the more crazier like Elon Musk's Neuralink, right? You draw a hole and get in. And I remember I watched like it's more like a short trailer, short video of Mr. Beats uh, Beast, he was trying to play like a Mario Kart with somebody who has like a Neuralink inside the brain. And it seems like, I don't know, I feel like that's magic because you can just think and you can move the cursor, you can drive, play Mario Kart on the screen. What do you see these types of device? Is this the next level? I don't know for the interface. What do you think?
Yeah, I would say I am not a big fan of like intrusive. It's I am too afraid of having some chips inside my brain. Yeah, for me to do something. But maybe that's the future. I don't know. But I think the question is really great because that reminds me of the research that I was doing in MIT Media Lab. So I can share a little bit context about it for the audience. So um, the research that I was doing in IT lab, we built a AR BCI system on HoloLens 2. At that time, HoloLens 2, I know that it is also not a thing now, but at that time, it was also not like published to public. Yeah. So at that time, when we were using it, it's actually more like a research device. So we actually built on top of HoloLens 2 to try to add some like sensors so that it can read your brain activity in real time and adapt the virtual environment to your cognitive state. So we have done several things in the research. So the first one is that we actually created a simple game that can change in real time based on your measured attention level. So if the EEG detect that you were losing focus, the game will automatically simplify or provide cues to re-engage you. And then think of it as like AR that notes when you are getting overwhelmed and then trying to change your environment accordingly. So that's one thing that we are trying to experiment with the environment. And then the second thing is that we call it like convert visual spatial attention control. What that means is basically where you focuses your attention on different parts of your visual field without moving your eyes. So we are also being able to detect that from your brain signal, whether you want to like give the control of left and right. You don't need to move your eyes, but then we can read that from your EEG signal. So like participants in the research were able to like control AR objects just by shifting their mental focus. So no like eye movement is required there. So it is like something that you say like controlling things with your mind. But this is actually grounded in actual neurosciences. So I think now we are still in the process of trying to learn more about the EEG signals, trying to read the graph, and also for different people, like even though it is the same command, but how the mind is changing, like the EEG signal might be different. So I think some of the research in this area is also trying to learn about the pattern of the different EEG signal and what does that mean in terms of what users are thinking and trying to match for that. So eventually, there's really a potential here where you can actually control some simple things with your EEG command. But I would say like the BCI interface for me, it is still like more research phase. It might take like 7 to 10 years to really to get this into the consumer product because of its differences between different people and also because of the accuracy of the command. Yeah, but I remember when I was doing research that's like 6 years ago, we were able to do something like if you think about a ball and then a ball will show up. If you think about a cube will show up. If you think about, okay, I want to move the things up and down, left and right, it will also be able to do that. But how that was done is that we are going to do some like calibration, trying to know, okay, when you are thinking about left, what does your brain signal look like? When you're thinking about right, what does your brain signal look like? So that we can match to that for you to control that. And I know that also some people are also doing EMG. Like if you think about, okay, start and stop, you probably will have some movement or your tongue or your mouth area. And then based on like the how you're moving your face with like the small movement, we are able to capture that with some sensors and then try to do something like that. So I really believe in the direction here because, for example, for people who cannot talk, right, and cannot hear, how can they control the devices? So the BCI really creates also new possibility for accessibility. But then, like, yeah, personally, I'm really excited about this area, and I know that a lot of companies today are already looking into this. Definitely not consumer product at this stage, but more in the future. But we have to start from now to see, yeah, where it can evolve.
Wow. So yeah, I think the future is coming. I remember like a lot of people just said that AGI is here, AGI is here. And I was like, wow, because yesterday I was trying to think of like, should I buy like an Apple Studio to put a bot here and separate with my computer and trying to do a, nonstop personal assistant. But I think you see like right now, all the bot, right now you can schedule, right? You can create a workflow for all the bots in your computer to coordinate together and automatically trigger to do things. Yeah. So I find out that the one person can do like a 10 or 20 times more because it just keep running. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just think the future. I remember before my really good friend, she used to hire $300 per month for a virtual assistant from people from Vietnam, right?
Wow.
Yeah, like oh, helping me to create some social posts, a lot of stuff. But with this types of tools, almost very low price, like a Google Gemini or all the agentic AI tools, you can pretty much create a workflow, and then every day you just wake up and it just finish for you. So yeah, the world becomes very Black Mirror sci-fi-ish now.
Yeah, yeah. I remember my mom used to tell me that, okay, the way that how to make money is that while you're sleeping, your money should make money for you.
Yeah.
And now it's like, okay, maybe the best way to work is that while you are sleeping, yeah, your work is working for you.
Yeah, yeah. And I was like, wow, I recently read a news that a lot of Tesla owner, they drive to their company, right, the workplace, and then their Tesla will go out and start finding like some work to do. Yeah, I saw those. Wow, this was amazing. Like a Uber. Yeah, a driverless Uber. So, once because you see, like car, when you buy a car, 90% of your car is parking somewhere. Yeah, so parking in garage, parking in your company's, parking lot. So, while this time, right, and the Tesla is go out and start working and getting some money, and it seems like a Tesla will be getting some parts of the share, right? But the owner can, just sit there and Tesla is working and getting money for the owner. So I think, wow, the in the future is very interesting because before I was thinking about more like a linear. Oh, I create a product. This takes 3 months to do UX, da 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 da. But using like cloud code, right? You just say something, describe what you want, and you
Yeah.
start creating a lot of like a simple SaaS or software. And right now, I cancel Mailchimp subscription because I asked Cloco to create a local Mailchimp like software. And so that's why recently, if you see the stock, right, a lot of SaaS company just going down because a lot of investors just worry about everybody now wants to do their local software. So what do you see by all those like interesting change for like for example SaaS before it was like a engineer was or designers product design was putting on the top, but right now anybody who wants anything, they can just type what they want and they something will create locally for free for them.
Yeah, I think I am seeing this more like not like AI will replace the job, but AI will replace the job, the part of job which is mundane that you just have to do it to finish your job. That, for example, I would take like Google Slides as an example. That like as a product manager, I need to give a lot of like presentation to my leadership and all the thing. And then before, I spend a lot of time on the styling, on the template, on making sure the slide looks good. And then today, for example, like Google Slides, they might have some tools to help you beautify your slides or it help you to create like some visuals, give you some responses. So I think it definitely helped me with like some styling issue, just changing the font of the words and other thing. But if I look at uh, the way that how it is presented in the content compared to what my, for example, designer has been helping me, and then the previous one is still not there. So I think there's still a lot that like as a human and also something that you mentioned before, like we need to define what's the best way or we need to give the criteria to the AI to execute. Like AI is good at execution, but in terms of defining the goals, trying to really to express what a human wants, you will need to like teach AI to do it. And I think that's actually a really great part because I think that's where humans should spend like more energy on that. You sometimes you want to achieve your goal, but you need to do a lot of mundane works to be able to do that. But now you can actually like give away all this work to AI to help you to do it. But I really like the agentic flow idea for like the day-to-day work, because I think it really free human for focusing on more important tasks. So for example, for me, I know that like Google, like the workspace, they have many like smart AI assistant right now. For example, trying to tell you what's the most urgent task today by going through your email list, trying to give you a summary about your meeting, and then telling you what's the AI you need to focus on. Like all of those, I would say I have to do them manually before that. After a meeting, I need to summarize all the AIs and write an email and send out to leads. But now AI can help with a lot of tasks, so I can really focus my time on finishing those tasks. So I really see that AI agentic flow here in improving the efficiency and then freeing human from more important tasks. But that also being said that in today's workspace, there might be some work that which is more reliant on a specific template or flow to get it done. Those might be can be done by AI, and then we might need to free those like human resources to focus on the other thing. But then the thing that which doesn't have like a specific flow to follow, but need like some like real time adjustment, and then need some real time thinking, and then make decision on the fly. And I think that part it will require really good collaboration between human and AI.
Yeah, recently I saw a lot of like a concept in education area. Start switching to, for example, like we have why to do it, right? Why, what to do it, and how to do it. So in education, it's the same thing. So or like any product, why we do this product, because we are solving some certain people's problems. So why, right? This thinking of why starting a project. It's more like a CEO's job, right? I'll start thinking like, oh, I want to initiate this project to solve a certain problem, right? And what to do it is more project manager, right? Oh, so we start with why, oh, we solve this person's problem, and then we start thinking about what to do, right? Start creating some task. And how to do it is at the end, the bigger circle, right? Like a why, what, how. So how to do it is more like a agentic AI is working on, or the general education. What professor is always teaching how to execute that thing. So right now, you see, we are switching from how to do it, like doing the actual coding, designing, or planning. Yeah, we start from the how to do it, move up to what to do. We start listed out all the tasks, right? And then why to do it. Start initiate that project, right? So why, what, how, and everybody start move up from everybody start creating, executing the task to let's plan and let's think, initiate the project. So yeah, just like echoing what you said, that something that is not outside of the mundane or everyday task, you need to start what to do and why you do it. That is becoming a very important question for all the people right now. Yeah,
Like,
cool. So, what's the one thing that you still like to share that we haven't touched on yet?
um, I think one thing that I want to share, I actually touched on it a little bit. I think it's the accessibility. I think this is like really important. But then I know that while we are developing the product, because we are focusing on revenue, we are focusing on the sales number, we always just look at the huge population, right? Like the healthy people who have access to a lot of things. But then I felt like a lot of times while we are building product, this is also a mindset that I am like trying to really like apply them to my day-to-day product job is really think about a group of people who don't have access to a lot of technology today and what's their needs. Because sometimes like really novel and innovative ideas can come from those. So that's why while I am like currently working in my day-to-day job, I also spend a lot of time with my user researcher and then trying to also encourage them to do user research, not just on like the general population that we have always been talking about, but also like people who might have some disability, either that's like physical or mental, but trying to learn about like their needs and how our product can potentially help them. Because I think a lot of actually like super novel ideas actually can come from talking to those people, so that is helping those people, and also it actually make a bigger difference maybe in those people's life compared to like normal people, but that is also like how improving the lives of normal people too, because yeah, how the same idea can apply to both. Yeah, so I think that's something that I will encourage also like people who are working on the industry, is just trying to pay more attention to the accessibility part, because it can actually make a big difference in for your products.
Yeah, I just want to echo what you said that I think accessibility is so important, and especially in California Community College. Currently, I'm working as the AI fellow in Chancellor's office. And last year, I had a couple panels, two panels talking about spatial AI and XR in my panel with a lot of my industry friends, startup friends. And the interesting thing is that we keep talking about XR, the highest, most innovative idea, right? The device, AI agent, all those cool stuff. But at the end, we have Q&A, and the professor, a lot of professors ask question. They said, "Oh, my student doesn't have computer. They don't have access to Wi-Fi. What can this tie to?" Or they feel like the thing that we talk was too high level, but what they want us solve is that my student doesn't even know how to use computer, or my student doesn't even have Wi-Fi, and they have to take public transportation like a train, 3 hours to go to the community college, use their lab, and take the bus or something, and go home. I know in right now in Bay Area, it sounds like, wow, are we really? It feels like the digital divide is very, yeah, it's wild, right? The gap is really big because you see, like, for example, like we have a really good school like a Stanford, or like good um, industry leaders like Google, right? We don't really feel that there's any difficulties, right? And every time when I talk to faculties that, hey, like I'm going to create like a VR professional development for faculties who want to sign up. I remember I sent out the a survey to in the Flex Day. Flex Day is for the community college. We have district Flex Day. Usually is the first week before the semester starts, for all the faculties to get some trainings, and they got release date. And I remember this January, I got 1 hour slot talking about spatial AI and XR AI foundation, what's the definition, and how it can enhance education. Uh, 62 faculties joined. It was a pretty big session. And at the end, I had a survey. 15 faculties are interested in getting trained in the professional development. However, there was a column that I said, do you have you tried any XR or spatial AI, smart AR glass or VR experience? 14 of them say no, and they don't have any device. Yeah, so you see, like we were like, oh, VR is so good in education, but faculty doesn't have device,
Yeah.
and they don't have time to get trained. And the thing about it is that the interesting about, I think, the education area is that um, for me, faculty got very nice protection of job. Once you become a turner, you are forever. You won't lose your job, which is like wow in this like industry level is so good. So they it's like, and they have a lot of manual things, and all the administrators, they are worried about losing their job. So you know everything is like all the government job is like that. So everybody was trying to keep all the process. So for example, like whatever you discuss this year, will happen next year because it needs to go through onions of approval, right? A lot of times you think it's unnecessary, but it's the process of ensure the security or something. They want tons of people to approve. So this creates a lot of, silos of, the gap and inefficiency. This is where everything starts. So you see all the money spent on all the things, right? Being overly labored, centered. Everything needs to have a human to approve the sign, right? So it adds a lot of things in between. And now it seems like agentic AI right now, we are trying to implement in agentic AI for classify. Classify usually said that it's the administrator staff. Faculty is more teacher. So I think it's also related to the interesting part of how can we reduce all the unnecessary part, maybe give to agentic AI. But it's also, you also come back to, wow, the accessibility part that it's like a human, right? If they lose their job, right? If they give agentic AI to automatically automate the flow, like you, like me, we make everyday routine more automation by AI agent, then this will be kind of terrifying things for a lot of administrators. It means that we don't need so many people. So there are a lot of revolutions, debates in education, and still debates on whether we want to use AI or agentic AI. But I think slowly we will move the flow, towards more like a technology, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I also felt like new types of job will be created. Uh, when some of them are potentially like replaced or advanced by agentic AI, we might need human to do other thing. Maybe the administrator here is the one who refine the agentic flow, right? Who focusing on like, for example, like other task in the school. But then, yeah, I think we might lose some like human jobs because of agentic flow, but then I think new ones will also be created there. But yeah, I think you mentioned a really good point that accessibility is also like people having access, even for normal people to have access to running devices. And that's the part that I think in the education case, we might need to think about, okay, how can we give those resources to the school? And I think to the consumer level, I think that's also a lot of big companies are looking into like reducing the cost of those devices, right? If you are making them like 1,000 or 2,000, 3,000, no one will get it. It's like way
Yeah, right.
expensive. And then how to reduce down the cost to let more people to see the power for how the devices can improve your life so that we can get more people into the new technology.
Yeah, I totally agree. Cool. So that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for listening. We release episodes weekly. And quick notes for listeners working in the AI education and workforce. The Future Summit 2026 takes place in September 9th, 10th in Santa Clara, focused on human skills in an autonomous world. It's a convening for people doing their real work, educators, technologists, and partners building equitable, scalable solutions. If your organization wants to connect with California Community College leaders, sponsorship opportunities are open now. Okay, so details at bit.ly, bit.ly/Futures Summit 26. Okay, so if you enjoy this conversation, check out our other episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. Support us by giving us a follow and a 5-star rating, or subscribe to our channel and giving this video a like. Thank you so much, and I will see you next time. The girl was pretty much listened to me. She joined another kind of like a game studio and just kind of like helping out. And the game shipped recently. And also she was joined tons of hackathons related to Meta. And also the interesting thing is that she got into the Meta Creator program, which she can, directly working with Meta people. And also recently I just saw her got a full-time job in a tech startup. And she is probably 20, not even graduated from college. Yeah, so I feel like, hey, and you don't even need to pay anything, right? For example, if you go to college, you need to pay tuition, but she volunteer. It's like, oh, I learned something. I use my time, but in return, I got a couple of lists, published
Mm.
games on my, yeah. And I think last year she was a speaker to tell people how she accomplished this. So I feel like, wow, that's amazing. You can do
I
this.
I think I think that, that's a great story that reflects the fact that that's what we want, from a community college level, we wanna actually create equity, right? Like, there has been this, and again, this is something that's gonna have to be addressed by academia, but there has been this idea that we are the outsourced, HR department, right, for companies. It's like, if if what you've done is, do you have a boutique, like, Stanford brand, right?
Yeah.
You pass, like, the sniff test for the HR department, right? And we've gone through and had for a while had passed it on to the K through 12, like, you know, what's your GPA? How many AP classes did you take? What was your, SAT score? Like,
Yeah.
that was again kind of HR for the universities, which are then the HR for the companies. And
Mm.
and then what we did along the way was say, and you can't bankrupt if you take on a bunch of debt for, college. And that is, again, then so now you're not gonna necessarily I go to a,
Mm.
I go and get an education, and it's not as qualified as somebody else, and now I can't get a job, and I can't bankrupt out of it. I'm just a permanent in debt person. Like, that is a joke.
Right.
That is just awful. And and if we don't address it, like, again, then academia is gonna get what it deserves for not addressing it, which is, people taking their money and doing things like figuring it out, doing their own thing, learning their own way. And along the way, somehow we were co-opted to be like, you need to make widgets. We cared so much about what people need from a business point of view that we forgot to make wonderful citizens, like to make wonderful human beings. Like, the, you know, what college should do is make amazing people that go
Right.
that respect who they are and the world that they live in, the people that they work with,
Mm.
and we lost the thread. And my hope is that we can get it back. That we can start to remember what the promise was,
Yeah.
and what the real virtue of understanding and generating more agency for ourselves means and continues to mean.
Yeah, and I saw a lot of articles about right now people don't hire college grades, right?
Mhm.
And the reason why is because a lot of skills, it's like no longer. It's like if somebody need to hire the uh, uh, college grades, they
Mhm.
have to retrain. For example, I talked to one of my friend owns a game studio in Bay Area for over 20 years. She said that, "Oh, we only have like a 5 senior developer in our team, and it's enough." Yeah, with AI, right? And she said that, oh, she had a couple of intern in the past, but they find out I have to retrain, right? Everything need to retrain. Whatever they learned from school was pretty outdated. So that's why you see, like, I mean, I have my own startup, and I also have like my student start with volunteer. After 3 months, it's like, let's talk about if I can give you equity or not. Yeah, so it's more like that. And I realized that, for example, in our game dev like program, there's no GitHub training, which was like, hey, right now all the hiring managers looking at your GitHub.
They're
And the
looking at
reason,
GitHub.
yeah, and the reason why is because according to the teacher said that, oh, GitHub is complicated. That's use like a Unity version control. You know, hey, it's interesting that the old way and there are a lot of like a no AI policy in before I talked to a couple of change makers. I remember one I feel very impressed. It's very interesting to kind of talk to some change makers. She is teaching computer science and I usually ask, what do you think the AI proof or the assessment need to be changed in AI era? And she said, oh, I ask student to code exactly my way. If they code differently from my coding, they must be using AI. And I was like, well, this is probably a little bit too extreme. And I asked her, like, what's your coding type? It's like it's very basic, or we have a lot of spaghetti, right? You can keep repeating yourself, or you can be very concise, more like abstract, right? And she said, oh, her coding style is very basic, very beginner friendly. And I asked her, what if your student is like, already working in the industry and write super amazing code and and very different from yours? And she said, oh, they need to get into my lecture so I know they learn and they need to code exactly my way. Otherwise, they will be flagged.
Well,
So
what's fascinating to me about those, and again, it's like let's use that as just like an example, right? Like if me Rick White teleports back and has that as a professor, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take her whole corpus, I'm going to ingest it. Like she has coding styles and all that. I'll make sure that all my coding examples are code in her stuff.
in like be a shape
And she won't be able to tell,
yeah,
right?
right.
Like, and again, so then really what is the point, right? Like of, of process. It's like, and that's the part I think that we really have to work with our colleagues to help them understand that where the rework is not, is not what you're delivering is diminishing in value. And but you have this understanding and you have this capability and you have this style, and the meta is that you're going to help them understand and recognize patterns. You're going to help them utilize patterns. And then in a smart way, you're going to help them create new patterns. Right. And that activity needs to happen in every discipline. Right. Because if you don't kind of embrace that,
Mm.
then you end up like kind of stuck in this place where it's, cat and mouse again, and nobody's learning anything of any value other than how to trick the system. It's like, I don't know I don't know what value is in there, but other than rules are made to be broken, like that seems like what the what the common theme or story that gets to be told when you have people do ridiculous things over and
Yeah.
over again.
So that's what, yeah. But I think overall, slowly, I think a lot of faculty will slowly adapt, right? Because right now it's just, I know it has been a while, a couple of years, but for education, it's still a slowly move. Cool. So yeah, go for it.
We're in Oh, I was gonna say, we're institutionalized as well, right? Like, we believe, in assessment patterns and slows and all these things that have been developed by administration to try to quantify what's not quantifiable. Jo Right? Well, how do we know that you're delivering, right? It's like, yeah, because the students are happy, the students are content, the students are moving on, they're getting jobs, and they're a meaningful citizen in society. And that part is, you get used to being the gatekeeper. I'm the sage on the stage. I want everybody to listen when I talk. And we need to get over ourselves.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So,
Mm.
what's the one thing you still like to share that we haven't touched on yet?
Uh, I think that I think that uh, we're surrounded by a lot of wonderful and caring people. Like, especially in the community college systems, they're built on kind of creating kind of cultures of kindness and
Mm.
helping people to kind of reinvent and re-understand themselves. And I think that if we as an institution, as academics, if we lean into the fact that why we're here, right? To help people discover the wonderful them, the wonderful themselves, the wonderful people that they are, that the world will transform in ways that not only support, us, but help us to foster peace and kindness and abundance for everybody.
Yeah, I do agree. I think AI really helps us to release, our labors. That something that we don't want to do, or even we like to do, we can use them as co-pilot, right? Working with it, and also just like you said, that this world is abundant. If your mind is abundant, you will feel, the higher frequency, right? The love, the sharing, right? The run, right? Run actually is human to human. So the other side, two lines, that's two. And then that part is human, run, human. So two
Human to human.
to human.
Awesome. Thank you for explaining that. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, to human. So that is that word. So yeah, so if we can based on human and especially community college, we have a lot of different background of people. If we can give them like a more like personalized, and I think AI can really help us. But also we also address a lot of like AI issues such as privacy, data, right? So pretty much we just go around the world. Yeah. So yeah, I really appreciate Rick, and it was really inspiring conversation. And that's it for this episode. Thank you for listening. We release episodes weekly. If you enjoy this conversation, check out our other episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. Support us by giving us a follow and a 5-star rating, or subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Thank you, and see you next time.